You see those two houses? The one in the middle is mine.
Exactly.
That was quite good.
Wait, we're live?
Yep.
Poor keyboard.
Hey guys.
Is this on? Is this on? Yep.
You are fine, Eric.
Coming in.
Oh,
broken.
for God's sake, Caleb.
You're coming in broken and stupid.
What?
That's SOP. It's fine. Oh, God.
How did we take that turn?
This is R-rated.
No, that was very early on the show, right? That's
You might-
almost
you
like
might-
a
yeah,
record.
Yeah, if
You guys hear me, but good. So none of that is recorded. You have to get the podcast for that. Anyway, I was muted in X-Play.
so did the audience hear us? Or
They heard
not
you,
or
didn't
did
hear
they?
me.
Oh, okay.
I get away with saying all of it.
Well, if you want to hear Eric's replies to all of that banter, then you're gonna have to shell out for the DVD extras.
DVD extras, the outtakes from the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
It only costs
Basically,
$5.
Eric has his phone upside down, so
Yeah.
he was just being deaf and dumb.
You're
So what I
speaking
did
on the
say-
other side of the microphone.
So what I did say was we have Barghost here, we have Lux here, and we got McLeod here that you can't hear, but you can hear because they already talked. You saw him in the little corner up there. Over there. I can go opposite. There we go, up there somewhere.
I'm already lost and confused.
I know. Terrible.
You can hear, but you
If
can't
we
hear.
don't have a sound problem every week, people, would be surprised.
I think
people will be like, "Oh, go for it, Bard." Sorry, I was dancing all over.
Mike's got it spot on in chat. Push to talk.
It was censorship. Yeah, even though he's the handler of all of us. So
apparently, I'm the handler. I handle you all well, and there's so much
Who we
wrong
work
with
for,
that
we don't
statement. Sub for sound, Roderick.
Well,
subscribe for 3 months, tier 1. Thank you, Roderick.
Exactly. If there wasn't fuck ups and issues with this show, then people would be like, clearly they've got enough money.
We're not professionals. We've only been doing this for, 3 years, McLeod? Maybe 4? Holy shit, McLeod.
That reminds me.
What?
You'll see.
All right.
No.
Tie break. 23 months. Thank you for the sub, buddy. RJ.
This show always
15
goes well
months.
when there's a random element to it.
Yeah. We got lots of subs, so thank you. For those who don't remember, subscribe to Imperium News here. You do it for free with your Amazon Prime. By the way, and Amazon Prime, big deal. For those who know Scythe, who hasn't been on the show for a little bit because he kind of won Eve. He's been binge watching Jack Ryan. Jack Ryan was released on
Season 2 is great.
Season 2. Season 1 was fantastic. If you didn't do it, binge watch it. It's great. So get your Twitch Prime, watch Jack Ryan, and then sub to Imperium News. Go do it right now.
And
Where's the
remember
damn
though,
share
and remember
button?
those Bezos bucks are not sponsored by China.
Hey, talk to Hilmar for your space bucks. He needs.
I don't get a share button with a message anymore. What the hell?
You didn't get a share
Oh.
button. Oh, you
Oh.
oh, it's so sad. What were you gonna do?
Oh, I was doing my monthly duty of resubscribing to INN, but I wanted to have my little message in there, and my
So-
message the F.
So, just so everybody knows, we'll do the plug for next week. So, at least the plan today. Next week, Scythe will be here live in the home office here. Total Newbie.
He may
should
be too
here.
drunk to zombie.
Total Newbie should be here, and perhaps maybe even to Morg.
We're getting the
so
old
next
school
week on
crew
Night.
back.
And so we will have a crazy show. And there was a thing earlier today that we were hoping that Mrs. RJ had a barista outfit, but she didn't. I don't know why. Seems like one of RJ's fantasies, but she doesn't have it.
She's got other outfits if you need it.
Oh,
By the way,
we were about.
maybe we'll get my friend whose idea this was. She wanted somebody to go and do something in Starbucks. So we may have a pre-recorded video of a Starbucks incident, because we're sure it'll become an incident. So if we can coordinate that before the show on Saturday, we'll be good.
I have a slight feeling this is going to
I did want to make
Well,
a.
the intro
Total
to the
Newbie's
show.
watching. Why the fuck is he watching and he's not in the channel? I don't understand.
Hey,
He's
newbie.
currently
Miss RJ says, "Get your old ass in here."
Get your old ass in here. All right. So, yes. So it'll be excellent, excellent, excellent. He's moving. Oh, I think you should stream that.
Yes.
Oh, totally.
Nothing could go wrong.
Yeah, like things
So-
go wrong like the other hour ago,
Yeah.
2 hours ago when friends tried to kill me.
So a couple things are going on. There's the big fundraiser this weekend, right? That you're doing, RJ, and also the game makers of Atlas/Arc are making. If you donate to RJ, his company wins because they're doing a big thing and they may sponsor more games. So check out RJ's channel. What channel is that, RJ? When you're after the show?
I'll post it in there.
Okay.
It's just
post it up.
ERJ 140.
So check him out after the show because he is doing a big fundraising streaming thing. He's streaming Eve. So we know how you guys love that.
I'm streaming a lot of things, not just Eve. So I'm going to bounce around the gamut.
All right. And then for those who play Atlas or whatever, Atlas is doing a big thing, and the more you donate to Atlas, the higher your farming yield is. So, and by farming, I mean anything, right? Whether you're mining metal, stone, trees, whatever. I think they're up to 2x right now, or 2.5x, and it can go as high as 8. So a lot of people doing that charity stream. Here on INN, there will be a charity stream, I think, next weekend. We're all charity streaming. I don't know if it's on INN or FatBTV, but look at our channel info down there for when that happens. We will get more information. I'm sure you'll see that on the shows. So FatBTV or here on INN. So goons prefer to farm wood. That's just so wrong.
That's a true fact. It's a true fact.
No, it's wrong.
As opposed to those false facts that you get, right?
Yeah, that's terrible. Somebody mute Caleb.
It's not possible.
Can we get
I've-
a 10-minute time
I'm
for
fair-
that comment?
Oh my god, yes.
Extra Life Charity, that's what it is. So yeah, it's for Children's Hospital, right? Children's Hospitals nationwide. So
Yes, it is. So there's a little bit of an issue right now. It's a good thing and a bad thing. It's the fact that there are so many people trying to get in on this charity right now and do this that their servers are kind of tanking right now. So if you try to make a donation, it's not really working. So that's why I cut my stream earlier. I was going to do a fleet during this, and you're all going to watch it, but nobody can donate right now, at least on what they're doing for the smaller guys. So I'm keeping an eye on it, and we'll see what happens.
So let's start out with a little Eve Vegas from last weekend. Can we do that?
Yeah, great.
All right. So I'll give you probably what I think is the funniest story. So we had about 11 people or so from Patriotic Tendencies out at the Vegas. I think exactly 0 had Vegas tickets. So, we had to sit around during the day and drink a lot, which was terrible. And we have a really good court mate. Actually, we met him in H1Z1, pulled him over into Eve. He loves Eve. He plays Atlas with us. He does everything. And his name is Duck Killer, right? So Duck, we call him for short. He got sick last year about Thanksgiving time, and that sickness kind of paralyzed him, and he's working his way back, so everybody knows. And a year ago we announced it on this, and all these people donated and helped him out, so thank you very much for that when you did that. But he's in Vegas, right? And he says, I'm going to Vegas because I almost died last year, so I'm going to Vegas and having a good time with all my friends, right? So all of a sudden he's in one of those little electric carts, right? He's wheeling around. So a drunk guy wheeling around in a cart is, number one, hilarious. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's a great guy, right?
Especially Duck.
So I don't know how he did this, guys. I mean, so he I'm sitting at the table. We're at the Fire Pit patio bar at the Flamingo, and he whizzes out around me so I don't see him. Next thing I know, he's right at my right hand side here, right? And he drove from the bar, which is about 30 feet away, to our table, and he had like 12 double shots of tequila. Okay, 12. Okay, he didn't have a tray. I don't know how he kept them all from spilling. I don't even know how he. All I know is there's, my buddy. He's in his cart. He's at the table, and there's now 12 double shots of tequila on the table. There wasn't 12 people to drink the shots, and I look at him and I say, I don't really like tequila. Okay. And he looks at me, he goes, Eric, it cost me $120 for these shots. You're drinking one of them. So, of course, I drink one. And we all drink one, and there's 3 left over. And so, and by the way, I have a video of this. We will definitely show it next week. That you can't hear the sound of them talking because we're too far away. But I look over my left-hand shoulder, and the table just down from us, about 15 feet away, there's 2 CCP devs, and they've been, chit-chatting very quietly amongst each other, right? And I said, Duck, take those 3 shots, take them over to the CCP devs, and when you toast with them, say the Matani sends his regards. And he goes, I'm doing it! So he takes the 3, whizzes over. First, he drives forward, right? So he might have had a few drinks, into me and the table with his cart, rams into me, which everybody thinks is fun. And then he backs up and he whizzes over there, right? So he introduces himself, it's very nice. He's very cool. Then he does the toast, and to their credit, those 2 CCP devs, who shall remain nameless, but you'll see them on the video, do a shot of tequila with the Duckman and laugh and are very jovial when he says the Matani sends his regards. But it was just kind of one of the fun things we did at Vegas, and we got our picture taken a lot. And all we did was sit out there at the patio bar with a giant fire pit that almost burned everybody's face off. And seriously, there would be like tornadoes of fire that would erupt from this fire pit. Okay, and they would go at people's heads. Okay,
Fucking hell.
and we all just sat there and drank while watched it.
So this is like, oh well, next victim.
A good waiter can bring 2 hot cups of coffee and a dozen donuts without a tray. Okay, well, they can do that. But yeah, so the Duckman had shots, and the other story. The probably the best story is we did get we got a cabana at the Flamingo pool, and the water was way too cold for anybody to get into. But I will tell you that Zenoria dove in. Crimper from Penn, she went in. She's from Canada, so it was like the water was warm to her. and I think
Practically a bath.
something. It was always after we said "Hail Satan." Actually, we did say "Hail Satan." We did that toast, I think, and then so we're at the cabana, and I think Newbie's girlfriend, I think she went in the water too. That was gutsy, right? So a couple people went in the water, but everybody else is sitting in the cabana enjoying the sun, and they had a special on vodka. So of course, if you order before noon, you got the special. In 20 minutes, we're halfway through that vodka, so we had to order another one. They continued the special price. We had about 2 hours left to be in the cabana, and we were running low on the second bottle, and we were mulling around. Should we order another bottle of vodka? We only have 2 hours left. Should we order another thing of vodka? And DeMorg, the guy who actually got me into Eve, he's looking at our hostess, who might have been a little bit attractive. And she looks at him and goes, "Do you want another bottle or not?" And he looks at her and he goes, "2." Needless to say, we drank a lot on Friday.
So Saturday was a complete wreck.
I will tell you that we stayed till Monday, and Saturday we drank, but Sunday I will tell you, I might have felt like I had drank enough. Never had a hangover though. Newbie's still intoxicated. I never had a hangover. Maybe I'm still drunk from Vegas. I don't know.
Dude, when I went out there, it took me like a week to recover. A week and a half.
Well, so nobody worked in this house on Friday because Halloween was pushed back a day. And so that means, my wife wasn't going to work or anything. And she either didn't set her alarm or whatever. We were still on Vegas time. We wake up and we're like, our kids are supposed to be at school. So I'd jump out of bed, get dressed, and drive number 2 to school, and number 3 had to go to the bus stop. But yeah. We don't lose sleep tonight. We fall back. This is the good night. When you were all in college, Total Newbie, when we were all in college and stuff, right? This was the night to go to the bar, this Saturday night, right? Well, at least in my state. In my state, the bars close at 2 a.m., right? So as soon as it hit 2 a.m., it was 1 a.m. again. So you got an extra hour in the bar. So now that we're all old, it is, hey, we get an extra hour of sleep. All right, so I've used 20 minutes of the show saying nothing, and I'm sorry. Caleb wanted to talk about. We're going to move on to the next topic. That was Vegas. It was fun. It was great. Goon dinner, amazing. By the way, McLeod, I wanted to tell you, one of the guys from Initiative came over during the Goon dinner. He's dressed really nice. He's in nice slacks. He's got a button-down collar Oxford shirt. He's he business casual, right? Business casual. He comes over. Eric.
Yeah.
And by the way, he's probably in the audience, and I don't know his in-game name, but I'm pretty sure I know his real name, so I'm not going to go there, right? So I don't know whether he texted me with his in-game or not, right? So my wife is sitting there beside me, and this is her first Goon dinner. She didn't go to any other ones, and she didn't really hang out us with the bars in past Vegases, but she's at this Goon dinner. And this guy comes up, and he goes, "Hey, Eric." I'm like, "Hey, yeah, I'm so-and-so." Okay. Big fan. We really love the show. My wife looks at me and goes, "You have fans?"
Nice.
She was like, she tells my parents, people were coming up, to Eric in Vegas saying they love the show. So to everybody who I met in Vegas, and I can't name you all, thank you for coming up and saying how much you love the show. There it was. That was me, Sikander. And I'm really sorry, Sikander, that we had so much planned for our group throughout the week that we could not come. He invited us to a party at the Initiative House and to hang out and smoke cigars and have a good time and drink. And we just couldn't make it happen. We couldn't get it. And I'm really, really sorry that we couldn't do that. But thank you very much, everybody who came up and said things to us and told us how they like the show. That really means a lot. I mean, we don't do this to be like internet famous. None of us do. We only do it because we like to talk about Eve, and it lets us meet people all over the world. So, thank you, everybody. It was great, Eve Vegas. It was a lot of fun. And even CCP seemed very nice, although it was an underwhelming set of announcements, I think. So with that,
yeah, but not really. It's what could have been expected, right? You didn't want them to oversell anything.
I just want them to sell something.
Perfect. Well, but they
So they sold that art. They sold all that art.
Actually,
on.
they did. They did that fucking well.
But my favorite announcement is we're going to give you quarterly roadmaps for the game, and the first thing on our list is to actually create a roadmap. That was my favorite announcement.
Can we just say, in their defense, right? There's two things where CCP seem to have directly listened to INN and the Imperium. One is the current Halloween 100% loot drop thing, which is pretty much directly taken from Elizabeth's article about PvE versus PvP, right? Because that's exactly the kind of incentive you need to rebalance and fix PvP. The second one is on the meta show, I am pretty sure that verbatim, Mitten said, at least have a plan to have a plan. That is exactly what we got. So come on, give them some props.
That's actually quite true.
That is exactly what they fucking did.
We promise.
yeah.
Well, we'll see in a couple weeks whether we get a, maybe. I mean, it's the fourth quarter, right? I mean, we're a third of the way through the fourth quarter. That gives them 2 months to get a plan on the first.
They're coming up on that investor meeting from PA, and then they're going to close the quarter, and then they're going to get ready to ramp up for the entire plans for next quarter, which seem to be really important because they keep saying things might change in 3 months and 6 months, and so there's something really big in the gun for FanFest 2020. I don't know if it's going to be underwhelming, but there's something important coming up, and with the launch of Eve Echoes, there's a lot of things happening in CCP. And they're moving offices, right?
I know from public conversations with certain CSM members that there are additional kind of interesting and awesome kind of changes happening, and it's probably going to come from Team Talos as well.
There's a lot of things
that we still haven't been told about.
So explain Team Talos to folks who might not know.
Okay, as most people know, there's been a lot of shifting around of teams in CCP lately, right? We've lost, they've reduced the community team from something around 12 to maybe 6 or something like that. And we got some new hires there. We got people like Bram Stoker coming in, and we got Dopamine. There's a lot of things really shifting seats, right? And we got the whole thing of them moving offices, and people are getting moved into new teams. And then, of course, the Jesus feature, which is CCP Rise, who's going to spearhead the Team Talos, which is going to bring us veteran-oriented changes every 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
They're called core now, Caleb. Eve core.
Core changes. Yeah, Eve core changes. So that's another one of CCP's new definitions of a lexicon, which is essentially, a lot of people say Eve core thinking it's the core gameplay mechanics. CCP now considers when they say Eve core as such, question mark, quotation marks kind of thing. They mean veteran players. They mean
there was some confusion there.
But there's not really confusion, right? Because they acknowledge that the core gameplay comes from the veteran players. They're pretty much saying, yes, nice. Okay, we now understand that a lot of what actually creates content in EVE Online is actually directed or coming directly out of EVE Null, or at least players that have that mindset. So saying core is equal to veteran players and the content creators. That is exactly what we needed to hear.
Yeah, it's a nice sort of, I don't know how to, it's not an admission as such, but it's nice to see that CCP has changed that kind of that definition in their eyes to actually mean something, means something worthwhile, something worthwhile, and something that actually, gives credence to veteran players.
And it's back to Siegel's taxonomy of the player base, right? It's pretty much what she said when she defined the types of players that we have in EVE. The core ones, the content creators, the people that are doing all the weird stuff and things that are admin based and fundamentally tedium, right? So FCs, lodges, Diplos, all of that stuff is what creates the whole narrative of EVE. Sure, CCP puts some backdrop and some decoration in the form of PvE, and that's fine, but that's only a means to an end, right? That's the tools that we use to then create actual activity and history.
I love how Caleb just described FCs as tedium.
No, I described the work that they do as quite hard and time intensive, right? Some people with the whole Drifter menace had to spend hours on hours manning that shit, right?
Yeah, and that's bad. That's an indication of like bad gameplay that was brought into the game. But like the actual stuff that the players do that we build, I wouldn't say that that's, you know, it's hard work and it's time intensive. But I wouldn't exactly describe it as tedious for most of the time.
Well, that's my problem. That many people in EVE call one thing tedium, another call it content, right? Another
that is true.
No, let's frame that. PI is tedium. Blowing people up is content.
I mean, PI's not.
I can see Caleb shaking his head right now.
Well, okay. The point is that some people will sit on a gate camp for 3 hours doing nothing, or 4 hours doing absolutely nothing, and then get one fight, and then say, "Oh, we got content," or roam for 2 hours, and then get one little fight that's pretty much someone feeding, and then that's content. My point is that in the same time, someone like myself or Rendis can write an article or 4 and actually make ticks competitive with Rorqual mining. I'm just saying that one guy's tedium is another man's content.
I'm just
saying, that just depends on where you're writing.
Yeah, but when they're gate camping, they're not just sitting on a gate waiting for somebody to come through. They're probably sitting there doing shots, doing beer. I mean, there's probably Cheetos or Doritos involved in this whole thing.
Working on their alcoholism.
That's the fundamental of half of EVE right now. People don't play EVE because they enjoy EVE at the moment. They play it because they enjoy the people they play with.
And well, I wouldn't say people don't play EVE like nobody plays EVE.
Okay, sorry, I was generalizing.
People do play EVE to enjoy EVE, but people also play EVE to enjoy the people like that they socialize with as well. Like there's one's not exclusive to the other.
I think it's pretty safe to say that a lot of people in places like Low and Nullsec are not playing EVE at the moment because they enjoy it, but more because they enjoy the communities that they're in and that they've built.
Can we just point out that CCP is also acknowledging this? Because if there's one thing you could take away from Ghost's presentation and interviews, the thing that he kept coming back to is that they are now realizing that it's the whole friendship engine, blah, whatever. But the point is that the players in this game are playing it primarily for the community and the content that drives, right?
So they've known this
that's
for
the
ages.
Intensity portion of that.
Yeah, but the point is that Ghost is now going front and center and focusing on this. And if they can figure out how to also do that on their branding and marketing, you're definitely going into positive numbers.
Caleb, Ghost was saying this in Amsterdam in March.
Yeah, but it's not been reflected in the way that they're selling the game, and I think you can see that
exactly.
In the future.
That's my point.
Yeah, I know.
They keep talking it, they don't keep doing it though.
Yeah, I've seen the same presentation 4 times, right? And it's very interesting, and it's fucking at the center of what CCP should focus on, but it's not been focused on. They've done a new player experience, which I call a complete waste of money. It's like throwing it out the window.
If they boost the intensity portion, which is the conflict of everything, then you're going to interlock those social connections even better. So it's like if they want to up the intensity, they have to give that reason for conflict again, which means we need to get big fights going again. And right now, that's kind of where are the...
Well, not even big fights, just like regular
just
fights.
Wars. Even just wars.
The warp speed changes were good, but I mean, you talk about wars. The only way people win wars right now is with supercaps, because supercaps are so broken that they are the answer to everything.
It's because one side's willing to commit something and the other one doesn't want to undock.
Dirk, I wouldn't call that broken.
That's broken as
I want to drop super caps all over the friggin' map.
So, and then it goes down to the whole that income inequality deal or whatever, and they say, oh, there's just too much money going into this because nothing of this shit's getting destroyed. You need to have those big fights, and the other side needs to just commit. And once that shit gets destroyed, then you're gonna see money going down, down, down. You got to destroy this stuff, so they spend money to rebuild it.
That's one of the major negative takeaways from that whole thing when they started talking about income inequality. It is completely wrong because the income rate, the speed with which you can actually grow in EVE has just been going up, 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 and up. The problem is that, of course, that faucet is also available to the veterans, so it's not really helping anything. But the catch-up mechanic is fine. If a veteran goes on a break for just 3 months, someone is going to catch up. Shifting this even further is just dumb. What they need to do is just fix the core resource gathering in this game, so we get back and having a reason for fighting.
Well,
you see, that's really the thing.
Yeah, but here's the thing. So let's turn the dial back to where I think we all can agree is moon mining. Well, moons need distributed differently, like they used to be.
Yeah, asymmetric distribution, right?
But what's going to happen is if you have
very much so.
if you turn that back and you have to send a Rorqual fleet or whatever kind of mining fleet to get those moons, people aren't going to do it. They're just going to wait for the shit to show up in Visa. In Jita, sorry, Visa.
Well, that's fine because then that means that, like, you know.
Yeah, I'm just going to say it's not going to drive content alone.
This is why it's so difficult, right? Because all of these things are tied together. The logistics part, the resource gathering, the whole distribution of geography, and then back to SOV and SOV incentives. These things are so closely tied together. And then you add things like structures and structure timers and structure design issues. Everything is just so connected. This is why I think if Talos is successful, they might actually start biting this and saying, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3, and get these things fixed one thing at a time.
Yeah, see, that was the sole disappointment for me from all of the stuff about the New Balance team, right? The New Balance team is great. Before I start going into this, I want to say that the New Balance team is great. And I hope to God Rise and his team are given the kind of let off the leash, as Hilmar has kind of been implying they will be. But yeah, the fact that there was a bunch of stuff on, bits like Minmatar stuff that's going to be coming up, and addressing Bushing, which is cool, and all of these different things, all great. But these minor little ship balance tweaks aren't the balance changes that we need for people to actually want to get back out there and doing more stuff again.
I mean,
the
structure
mechanics
changes
are
are coming
stale
next
and
year,
stretched.
right?
And, I've said this before, but, CCP have roughly in the past had a bit where they've changed the way SOV works and got kind of better every time. 4 years or so. We're now starting to push 4.5 years with Fozzie SOV, and there's no indication of where the next bit is coming. So I'd like to see more conversation about that, but
I think the problem is that when we're talking about fixing EVE, especially because, well, Hilmar admitted it's rotten to the core and it's completely broken in some of the most vital points, right? When you want to fix something like that, there is no big patch that can do that, because if you roll it out as a big patch, you're going to make mistakes that will just make you forced to go back and iterate again and again, right? So what they want to do is exactly what Talos can do. Do a change, measure the effect, then put the next thing on the cogwheel in, and then do that change so you gradually fix it, right? This is why I was joking with the whole things in science, you do things gradually and with titration, not with a fucking shock to the system. Ooh. And it looks like they've actually listened.
This may be the first time to some degree was mentioned on the show.
To some degree, yeah, I could understand and agree with that, Caleb. The other kind of thing that, like, I think is sort of a little bit sort of hit and miss with the whole changes and, you know, learning from that kind of thing is like the sort of the more recent change. Like, I mean, it, you know, it was dressed up as an event, but you know that it was like, you know, essentially basically a little bit of a science experiment to see, you know,
Great one.
the effect.
An amazing
the effect.
one.
But the thing is, certain things happened within that has kind of caused a little bit of, you know, issues with.
Yeah, we've got some noise.
Getting
right?
a good data set. Yeah, there's
we got a lot
a
of
little
noise.
is a bit of an understatement there, but yeah.
Oh, it is a little because it's fairly easy to filter out, or fairly easy if you know a bit of how to then trim these numbers out. It shouldn't be that difficult to trim out the outliers. Of course, then there's the invisible effect from popularity due to the fact that it's a Halloween event, right? You also need to correct for that, and then of course you need to correct for the collateral effect that people just pile on because there's like this narrative. But when you then look at the data, I would still think that they saw an effective increase in activity on PvP of about 15 to 20%. And that is really valuable, especially if they then start thinking, how can we iterate on this? This is what I've been talking to Lux about. If they could tie the loot fairy to something like TrueSec, you would have an amazing game incentive. I don't care how you describe it with lore. Ashtaroth can do that. But the point is that if you only had if you had loss on the loot fairy in, say, 0.9 and 1.0 systems of almost up to 90% of the value, right? That would completely push the PvP out where it's actually profitable and where you can make a living off of it. Sure, you can still have ganking, but it's going to be very not profitable and only for harvesting salt. When you want to make money doing PvP, you have to move out, you have to move to low sec, you have to move to null sec, because that's where the money is. And then it becomes a viable way of living.
Caleb, I'm just going to cut in and say, you saying ganking isn't a viable thing. Yes, it is, and the last few days have shown it. It's actually pretty decent.
That's not what I said. I said if you made it tied to TrueSec, so
sorry. Okay, I must have missed that.
You get the gankers out of HighSec because they want to gank where they can actually make money off of it.
Yes, apologies. I somehow missed that point.
I have a bit of a hypothetical that someone raised, which I thought was interesting. And they said, imagine if the loot drop was actually based upon the value of the ship that was destroyed. And so you get higher proportions of loot drops from cheaper ships.
Yeah, you can do so many.
Would that shift the meta?
You can do many.
It would, but it wouldn't shift the actual geography of where the people who do it actually, like, you know.
Well, actually,
that wouldn't shift.
Rise said something extremely important. That's something that I've been dreaming of and asking for many, many years. He said that they can now actually use universal data, so like universal stockpile data. That means that, say you have a specific Meta 4 item, right? And the chance of it dropping can then be tied to how much of that is in existence in the entire universe. Ooh. Having an algorithm that checks for this, so saying how unique is an item, and then it automatically destroys non-unique items. So everything that's already in existence in huge numbers. So all of your titanium, all of your Tech 1 stuff always gets destroyed, right? But I mean, your expensive stuff, so your pinks and purples and all that shit, that always drops, right? That means that you're going to get a seesaw, a negative feedback system of valuation. You increase destruction, and you devalue the things that are currently too rare, right?
No, I get that. I get that, Caleb. And like, you know, that's an interesting, definitely an interesting way of being able to, like, you know, error check, for example, say, like issues that CCP made, like, you know, third, fourth, fifth order kind of like, you know, effects of changes that maybe CCP hadn't actually, you know, CCP or maybe even like the player base wouldn't have been able to realize. Like, you know, how many people realized that, like, you know, the Halloween event was going to basically be a way for, you know, for people to be able to scrub away their you know, their bounties, right, quite easily. I mean, you know, things like that. But like, hang on, Lux. But like the it's an interesting way of being able to sort of basically error check any changes that you make. But like, I'm kind of concerned that maybe that does also flatten the sort of like the sandbox kind of nature of Eve.
But that will be fixed by player behavior. So anyways, I just want to answer the question from chat. How would this work on Abyssal role stuff? Well, in my ideal scenario, CCP would grow a brain and make all of that stuff that can't be traded easily a cyclical item, so it always has a timeout and it dies automatically after about a month to 3 months, depending on the value of it, right? But that should always drop as loot, with the exception of hulls, of course, when we get that. I think the whole thing with Tribarian and
that was a fun joke. We're not actually getting Abyssal rolled hulls. It's not going to happen.
There's no way.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, like maybe. No, I don't think so.
It's especially not for things like the Titan that he showed, which had like a 3.2 light year base increase jump. You know, once you actually look at how far that will jump,
that's right?
Pushing because like 8 light years for a Titan.
But if they made these things cyclical, right, then having them available to do on hulls and things like that is actually valid. It's like putting an enchantment on yourself before going to war. Right? You know that you're going to lose it because it's going to time out and die, but it has a huge potential for becoming a part of the meta.
Yeah, and it's also a massive like sink in terms of terms of materials as well. Because a lot of the things that people are like concerned about with that particular sort of like semi-reveal, I guess maybe you could call it like that, like. Were exactly the same concerns that people had with the, enchantment style stuff, that came out just for mods, and like that hasn't broken the game or like caused such upheaval that people were, concerned about previously. So, like, if anything, it's just been a big sink in terms of, those, badly rolled kind of modules.
Being a space enchanter is a lot of fun, and it's not even gated by skills, so it's open to new players.
Yeah, you too can brick a bunch of modules that cost you quite a lot.
Or create T2 modules out of T1 modules without having T2 materials.
Just a crazy question here, right? Because I'm not entirely up to date on how the mutaplasmids work. Could you apply them in space while you're fighting?
No.
Because that would be kind of fun.
Back to the point that people are clearing their bounties with 100% drops. I think that just indicates that to have a functioning bounty system, you need to be able to allocate who, as a person or a corporation or a group of those things, can collect the bounty. And then we can have a functioning bounty system.
You're lobbying for our ACL-based bounty system.
Always.
Yeah, that and then
I love that idea, dude.
Rise for CEO, right?
I mean, he got a promotion in Las Vegas, so I mean, I don't know what they're going to promote him to in London, but I mean, the next promotion's probably lined up for London.
Commander-in-Chief of the entire world.
Hey, can I?
No, that goes to the art team who solo carried Vegas.
Hell yeah!
Can we just get?
I don't know about solo carried, but like they fucking put some work in, dude. Like that was some good shit.
I'd give props to. They saved their whole damn show.
You've got to give props to the Space Pope. I'm sorry, you really do have to.
That too.
Space Pope.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you
that
guys?
Talk was just incredible. It was probably the Space Pope's talk was probably the single most enjoyable presentation at Eve Vegas for me.
I always enjoy watching him.
I didn't catch that.
It's really good.
Is it on YouTube already?
It's on the VOD. It's on the Twitch VOD. He was on the main stage.
I actually wanted to watch it, and then I got called off for real action.
By the way, the CCP released a little video on the 25th of October, and Space Pope was at the end, and it kind of showed a little splash screen of his Vegas presentation. So I did not watch any of it because we were, drinking. I'm gonna share two things real quick from eVegas that I brought home that I need to do things with this one. So I saved this. I'll share it. This is a cigar wrapper that I got. Somebody had cigars with these wrappers on them. The Goonswarm P, if you can't see it. Very, very cool cigar wrappers. And then I'm going to share the initiative pin that our initiative bros gave me, because this is just a damn cool looking pin. And by the way, I left it on my shirt. It just came home on my shirt. My wife was washing my shirt. She goes, "I assume you don't want me to wash this." And I'm like, "No." So this, let me see if I can get it good in the camera. This is the initiative pin that I got. And
I know that Sikander spent a lot of time and effort actually looking at various different prototypes of it, various different testers and stuff like that to find a really, really, really good kind of
that's really cool as hell.
Maker. Yeah, I don't know if the video on the screen really did it justice, but I got to tell you, the detail in the metalwork on this and the colors and everything, it is top notch. It's very cool. So it's one of my favorite things that I got out there at eVegas. And the other thing is, if you go to Vegas ever, 3 months in advance minimum, and you're going to be there on a Sunday, go to the Sterling Brunch, because we did it as a corporation. They give you unlimited champagne at this brunch, and it's good champagne. Because my wife went out to buy it last night, and it was it's on sale for $40 a bottle where we live, and it's usually $50 a bottle for the champagne they were giving us. But if you took 2 drinks out of your champagne glass, your waiter or waitress is walking around with the bottle of champagne all the time, and they are topping off everybody's champagne glass constantly at this brunch called the Sterling Brunch.
Yeah.
It is at the BLT Steakhouse in Bally's on Sundays, and it is a little expensive, but it is really good food. They've got caviar, king crab, lobster tail, just filling everything. The desserts are phenomenal. It's great. So shout out.
That sounds badass.
It is. But the champagne, my wife was like, sometimes I just don't like champagne. It's a little too aftertasty for me, too yeasty. And she goes, this stuff was really smooth. The 42 lobster tails Newton ate. I think he actually did eat 42 lobster tails. I know that my wife did actually eat 42 portions of the caviar, because it was the good caviar. It wasn't the bad caviar, so it was fantastic. And it was really great. So there you go. I'm done with Vegas. We have 10 minutes left.
Do we have time for my controversial
Yes, your controversial topic, and please give us the topic of the next 10 minutes. Controversial topic. The
topic is pretty much named a Redemption Road for Fozzie, because what I think is actually going on is that CCP are preparing a huge push on the Eastern market, and especially Korea. And I think that Fozzie might actually be about to start work on a new tournament tool, an actual esports tool.
It's not going to happen.
I know that you guys say that, but I think that this is the obvious low-hanging fruit for CCP to make a punch through into the esport market, because they failed with our old tournament model, because EVE is not really a spectator sport, right? It's really bad for it. It's also why we don't have that much streaming activity going on, because it's not an active thing, right? But if they took what they've learned from Valkyrie and Hadeon and the actual tournaments and folded them into a new product as an esport product for New Eden, you would have something that would gain a massive popularity. Because let's just give it right. But I know that people can facepalm, but if they wanted to make money and enter the esport arena, this is exactly what they need to do. Because let's face it, in my opinion, CCP are better at making good games than, say, League of Legends. And if that shit can get that popular, we can make something a lot better.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. You mentioned a tournament type tool or a tournament type layout, and you mentioned it on a week where we don't have Soth or Apple Pair. I mean, they're going to be mad at you.
They're like, why?
Or they're going to suddenly appear
about this now.
No, it's just, if you think about it,
if
you think about it, Fozzie has been taking a lot of flack for things in the past, right? if he was to actually come out with something that could redeem him, it must be something that's close to his heart. And if there's one thing that Fozzie knows how to do, it's tournament stuff, right? If anyone could kick us into the esport arena, it would be Fozzie. Seriously, guys, if you don't see this as an obvious solution to the quote-unquote Fozzie problem, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Why does Noisy want to rename AUTZ to KTZ? What am
Korean
Korean times. Okay, I get it. Yeah, I'm just a little slow. Still recovering, getting the alcohol out of my blood system from Vegas.
Out? Aren't you drinking today, Eric?
No, I'm actually drinking water.
Being sensible, damn.
It's like a week and a half to recover after Vegas. Shoot, man.
An overlay in Twitch where all the viewers can control the ship. No.
Twitch Eve. That's going on.
Now. Shout out to Final Praetorian. He converted from a Twitch Prime to a Tier 1 sub.
Let's remember this whole thing with viewing in tournaments is something that is very high on Hilma's wish list.
I actually didn't hate how we ran tournaments and how the tournaments were displayed in the commentary. I actually like them. Maybe I'm just that weird guy. But I can see how they don't translate to people. But at the same time, when I watch on TV, you know, the CSGO tournaments and things like that, I just don't get into them. I would have rather watched an old EVE tournament, you know. League of Legends, it's just a game that I just don't get. So
me neither. But the point is that I love the tournament. It's just always annoyed me that it felt a little bit weirdly obscure, right? It was really difficult to understand what was going on unless you really had experience or the commentators were really doing their job well, right? If we got something new that had all the flavor of the old tournament but at a higher pace with more information, with an actual tool built on Unreal, it would just be amazing. And the things that you can do
faster pace than the previous tournament.
It needs to be at a fast pace. It also needs to showcase individual pilot skill a lot more than just. Yeah. Well, it also needs to showcase individual pilot skill more so than than like team play. Like, because I know, like, you know, some people would say like, oh, it does show individual skill. Well, it does up until a particular point. You know, when you lose one pilot from, you know, one or two kind of ships from a comp, like, you generally tend to know where that, you know, that particular fight is going to be going.
And this is just me. I tried to sell this last show, I think, because I had just watched that League of Legends Origins documentary on Netflix. And the fact that a game like that, I'm sorry, I hate that game. I think it's the most stupid game around. The fact that a game like that can get that popular and rise in the whole esport area, that's just, if CCP can't do something similar, they might as well fold and close shop, right? And I know many people say, yeah, they should do that. I don't think they should do that. And I think they are on the track of potentially making more money than they have ever seen before, especially with the rollout of Echoes. Because if Echoes gets a high priority on NetEase's list, they're going to make so much money. I just saw the numbers that Lux was sharing from the breakdown of 17 and 18 on the gaming industry. And the fact that NetEase had two titles making just around 1 billion in profits, it's just mind-blowing. So if this is what we can look forward to, Koreans coming into the game, Chinese players adapting and going into Echoes and potentially ending up in EVE Online, the whole brand scene will just grow and CCP will be in a very nice place.
By the way, Noob Visions, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Final Praetorian. I think I mentioned.
Am I going to get banned for being too positive because I was named the king of negativity?
No. We don't tone police here.
I mean,
are we sure about that?
Personally, I would have liked a bit more positivity.
Sorry.
There could have been some more snark too.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that really fits in with the whole show.
Oh, I got one for you, RJ.
Hey, Ron, how you doing out there?
Shit.
I got a little bit of a high positivity thing because I think CCP are going to be the first to take us into the next era of communications online with their introduction of the augmented reality thing. the things they showed with the avatars, with Aura and with your avatar. It's going to be amazing.
I'm going to make people like do super cringe right now and say Star Citizen already has that, and I watched a video about it. I've watched people streaming, and like this dude's going freaking crazy with this facial recognition, actually making his character talk and everything. So,
by the way, we've been able to do that for 8 or 9 years with our video cameras. I mean,
like, I don't know whether you watched, whether you saw the show last week. But like Ace was on, and he was using exactly that kind of stuff to be a really cute little dog in a bowl. It was fantastic, by the way. You should watch that.
Dog in a bowl.
Just for that, it's fucking hilarious.
And then you got Caleb with his freaking Rule 34 thing with Aura going on.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be so good. It's going to be amazing. I am going to sit there and refresh and wait for it to happen so I can actually download that.
Has Reaver not booted you out yet?
Well, if we haven't booted him out yet, like we're going to with that Rule 34 bullshit.
Yeah, I think the whole Aura thing becomes impressive when you superimpose that on walking in stations.
Yep.
And that's never going to happen.
Let's just remember that it is going to happen because CCP actually bought it. They bought an actual platform for mobile that actually does avatar-based gaming.
Well,
Hilma has personally invested into this, and with Eve Echoes, they're just gonna fold Echoes with walking in stations. You're not gonna get walking in stations for EVE Online. You're gonna get walking in stations for Echoes.
You know what? Walking in stations for EVE Online would only be cool if you can be in the freaking Keep Star when it gets blown up and you get sucked out into space and die.
To be fair, the fact that the Asian market absolutely loves Avatar gameplay, I wouldn't be surprised, to be completely honest.
This is where Eve Echoes gets cat ears and Jintan,
and he's like, I'm off to China.
I don't want to say anything.
Ron's got a good thing.
When I hear grown men talk about cat ears and it become a thing, I look at my 9-year-old daughter who says, she goes, yeah, I need my cat ears to wear to school today, right? I'm like, guys, 9-year-old girl, shut up. No.
So Ron's got a point there. Using your avatar actor for doing voiceovers for propaganda, I'd be all over it.
Can you imagine the state of
Laguna? God.
I would be all. I'd be making propaganda because of the fact that Pend is always recruiting. So we can actually.
This isn't here. Fly. This isn't here.
Patriotic Tendencies is also recruiting. Also, yeah, always.
Both in Atlas and in EVE Online. Newbie's gonna crush me for even saying Atlas. Fucking
I'm sorry.
Are we going to see catfishing in EVE?
We've already seen that.
Yeah, we've already had that.
It was a very long week.
There he is.
You guys may see a Reddit post soon because we had something go on with someone in Corp that's basically using an EVE avatar.
Let's not forget the Luna incident in Talking in Stations, which is going down in history because that was the most interesting thing I've experienced in EVE for many years. Being fucking called out as being a machine and you're not a machine is just a whole new level of weird. Get ready for it. It's going to be the new normal 5 to 10 years down the line, and you saw it here first.
Do you remember the picture she put up, which was all of you nerds need to get girlfriends?
It was amazing. The only thing that could have made that more hardcore pune, which would be if she had put a shoe on her head.
Yeah.
I swear to God, you know what? People are talking about Diablo a little bit in chat. I want to say that I've never played Diablo. I don't want to play Diablo, but I watched the Diablo 4 launch trailer.
It's because you're a normal person.
I saw this in a different Discord channel yesterday. Somebody said that they also don't play Diablo, but they would watch the fuck out of that movie if they made it. And I've got to agree with that. That launch trailer was fucking incredible, and I would watch that as a.
So long as you don't give it to the guys that did the Assassin's Creed film.
That's fair.
I was tempted to watch that.
Hilma needs to get naked in the bathtub with the guys that made Stargate.
Shut up.
Right?
No, stop.
No, seriously.
No. The words Hilma and naked are banned. Did you not listen to that weeks ago, Caleb?
Caleb.
You don't say them.
Caleb. Who here said Hilmar, naked, and bathtub? You get the fuck out.
Yeah. No. Because that is apparently like, I don't know, the Finnish way of making deals, just like vodka is in Russia. So what we need is to make a deal with the guys that made the whole Stargate universe, right? All of those series, they need to get on track and actually deliver an Eve and New Eden based series.
So you're saying that they make
Never
deals
gonna
by
happen.
fighting?
Why do you say never going to happen? They've worked on this. They
Ilmar ruled it out at FanFest. He said they have bigger
dream.
property.
This is what
pipe dream.
This is where all that Chinese investment money needs to go, right?
Never gonna happen. Never gonna see a TV
Yeah.
show.
Okay, I would totally be down for a Diablo movie.
Now,
Diablo movie, I'd totally be down.
I would be down for an Eve movie. It could be cool.
We could make an Eve movie.
But
it's going to be a series, and I can bet you money that it's going to have NetEase as an executive producer.
Not even Netflix in its dying glory right now will make this show. Nobody's going to make the show.
I mean, what about
bet, Caleb?
Nobody's going to. Who remembers Clear Skies? Like, I think Ash is actually streaming Clear Skies.
He's streaming it tonight. So with the new AR avatars, with all of that hype, with Echoes coming out and being very successful, I will bet you money NetEase is going to say, "Fine, I'd like to actually be executive producer on an actual TV."
Yeah, not gonna happen.
I think it will be the players making Machinima rather than that first.
Isn't that trend dead?
No,
not quite.
Players making content, like no, that's a trend that will never.
No, sorry, I meant the trend of machinimas.
No, people still make machinimas. They're just broadcast on different platforms now. They're more performed than produced. And if you look at this, it allows you to perform machinimas like theatre because it happens in real time. So that's the real difference, the real timeness of it.
All right, so we're at 2:04. Let's do the one last thing roundtable. We're going to start in alphabetical order, and excluding me, we'll go with Bargos first. What's your one last thing for this week?
Trick Dreads are coming. Please give Blueprint.
Okay, we'll go with that. Caleb!
You're going to see why Pearl Abyss made a steal within the next 6 months. And I think the valuation of CCP would at least go to double what it was when they bought it.
RJ? Dirk, you're next.
CCP Rise is great. I'm glad he has his own team. I'm glad we finally have a balanced team. And I seriously hope that we start to see some of the changes that Eve needs.
Alrighty, RJ.
Just gonna replug Extra Life today. I'm actually gonna take a run down to the office, and then I'm gonna come back and probably start my stream, see how they're doing. And also kudos to the friggin' art team. I'm gonna just say it out loud. Art team, audio, VFX. You guys stole the show at Vegas. Love you guys. You brought me back.
Lux.
Within 2 weeks, Hilmar's going to be in Korea releasing Eve to the Korean player base, and I'm really excited to see what they do in Eve.
The Cloud.
Oh yeah, I don't actually have much, but like I do believe that the what was it, the fraternity SOTAs today at some point. So look out on usual media and Eve media platforms for that kind of thing. You'll probably see something regarding talking stations doing that.
Okay.
A little later.
Alrighty. And for me, we have, as Noisy alerted us all to earlier in the week, November 8th, is the quarterly call with Pearl Abyss, so we should see some interesting things on Eve. I'm going to disagree with Caleb unless they don't pay out bonuses because the stats are shit. That they got Eve as a steal. 400 million for CCP is about a 50% overpay. And by the way, Pearl Abyss agrees with that based on how they valued the sale. So that's it for me. We will be back next week with a bigger crew and hopefully a cool video of shit that went happen. We'll also render out the Matani sends his regard toast. With Duck, and if I have some other pictures or videos that I think I can show legally on Twitch. We may show a couple of those. That's
by the way, just a quick thing. I heard a apparently completely and utterly insanely mental thing that happened on Vegas. That was discussed on Open Comms regarding sort and not inappropriate kind of content, but yeah. You should check that out because that actually was fucking hilarious.
Well, they were hanging out at the pool at the Link for some reason every day. And I don't know, we were at the pool at the Flamingo and hanging out at the Flamingo mostly.
That's all good.
So
but yeah, you should check it out.
But yeah, something happened with Sort, so we need to check that out and go look at that when he got pissed.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Mike Flood, really? That happened? Holy shit.
Exactly.
Oh my God, that's insane. By the way,
exactly.
Oh, and one more Vegas shout out to Hyper Viper. Holy hell, did he throw a nice dinner together for the Imperium?
Nice.
Those tacos were just wonderful. They were good. All the food was good. The bar was good. The shots were good. We had special shots.
Yeah.
Based on different things in the game. So they were phenomenal. And since it was open bar, it was like, give me a shot. Let's go. Yes, dinner was good. You don't remember? Yeah, you were pretty toasted, newbie. I'm not sure how you even told your Lyft driver how to get you there. That was crazy.
I'm surprised you even remember that the event occurred.
That's right. But I will tell you that going to Vegas, hanging with my bros, doing that has really energized me back into Eve. So I'm excited to start playing that. So come Monday, I'll be going crazy in Eve. That's it for the show this week. Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for the subs. Every bit is appreciated. And thank you for just watching the show and commenting in chat. We really appreciate that. So from all of us, later. Oh, by the way, it's November, so you're allowed to listen to Christmas music and decorate for Christmas.
No,
get your Peps.
Later.
No.
Bye.
It's November. Get your Peps.
Later, folks.